Ah, Luigi, truly one of video games' most iconic characters. That delightful Italian with his green cap, blue dungarees, moustache, his pet worm. Wait, what? Yes, Luigi. Legally distinct Luigi. Look, it's a common name. I'm sure there's plenty of characters named Luigi with the green hat, blue dungarees and moustache. Anyway, this Luigi starred in 2 video games in 1992 and 1994, and I think we should take a look at this series and its completely original characters. It's video game Odyssey time for Luigi. No, not that one. The games based around the Italian Luigi were developed by Spanish company Toa Soft. Part of the booming 8-bit gaming scene in Spain in the late 1980s, Toa Soft saw particular success, with their game Mad Mix being used by Pepsi for a competition in Japan, and them also being awarded the license for Gremlins 2, The New Batch, to develop a video game, making them the first Spanish company to get a Hollywood movie license. With the advent of 16-bit gaming though, Spain was a late adopter of those 8 extra bits, and Toa Soft along with other Spanish developers never made the jump. Game production slowed to a crawl, and Toa Soft ultimately shut down in 1994. In 1992, the company was exclusively developing games for the Microsoft Disk Operating System, or DOS, and in this year came Luigi and Spaghetti, a platforming game starring Luigi, an Italian moustache man dressed in a green cap and blue dungarees. Now, you may not be aware of this, but there is another Italian video game character named Luigi, with the green cap, blue dungarees and moustache, who made his debut some years before. It seems a bit odd that a video game developer, which had clearly seen success developing official licensed games, would pivot to creating a game that encroaches on another developer's property. Maybe they knew they were finished at this point and just wanted to try and ride on the back of another character's popularity. Or maybe it's like Croc on the PS1, where the developers pitched their game to Nintendo, in this case for a Yoshi game, Nintendo turned it down, and the developers made the game anyway. I don't know, I couldn't find anything conclusive. It also seems incredibly risky to appropriate a Nintendo product, particularly after what happened with the great Giana Sisters a few years earlier, with Nintendo having the game completely removed from the market. So anyway, Luigi and Spaghetti is a platforming game, the plot of which is loosely, aliens have travelled to Earth and imprisoned all of Earth's mightiest heroes. Well, all of them except Luigi and his pet worm Spaghetti. Now it's up to them to free the heroes and send those aliens packing, I guess. Starting off in Egypt, you can quickly get the idea of the game. Moving freely across the level left to right, you have to squash all of the alien eggs by jumping on them. Classic Luigi. The eggs can eventually hatch into little aliens that wander about a bit, but they don't damage you, so it's not that important. What can damage you though are the larger enemies that wander about, quickly draining your health if you touch them. You have no way of attacking enemies in this game, so you need to get creative about working your way around them. As you wander through the level, you'll find one of Earth's heroes that you have to free by taking out all the other aliens in the level and reaching their cage. Wait, is that Indiana Jones? It is! The copyright infringement does not stop at Luigi, it seems. There's no doubt it's him, because when you free him, you get his theme song. This game is certainly taking a turn. Okay, next level is the Amazon, where we'll have to rescue Tarzan? Okay, I'm not sure that's where Tarzan is set, but I'll overlook it. You'll notice that Spaghetti follows us throughout the level, but does very little. His only ability, which took me a while to work out, is if you jump from a height onto him, he'll turn into a spring to launch you back up into the air. Given that this only launches you as high as you jumped from, its usefulness is very limited. This particular Luigi's jumping abilities are not particularly great, as he can only jump a short distance, which I suppose is more accurate than being able to jump about 3 times your own height. 1 point for realism to this Luigi. Being less mobile, you do have to be a bit more tactical as to your movements throughout the level, as you need to time your movements to avoid enemies. Throughout the levels, you'll find super emblems that will, of course, turn you into Super Luigi, allowing you to fly through the level for a limited time, after which, another super emblem will spawn somewhere in that level. Some of the eggs will only be accessible to you when you fly, so it's again important to decide what the most efficient use of your time is when you're in this form. Level 3 takes us to Italy, our homecoming. Here, we'll deal with mobsters and gladiators. When is this game set? And rabid pizzas. These Spanish developers are really going hard on the Italian stereotypes, and we end up freeing Hercules? Is that Hercules? Isn't he Greek? I guess that's Heracles before his mythology was Romanized, but I'm not going into that. Free that Italian Greek man, Luigi! Now we go to Camelot, the mythical realm of King Arthur, where obviously we have to rescue Robin Hood. Next, it's the USA, where of course we free Superman, and like Indiana Jones, we get the theme song. Next, it's Transylvania, where we rescue Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. This one took me a minute to work out because, you know, Sherlock Holmes never went to Transylvania to slay vampires or anything. Finally, we end up on the moon, where the enemies are the invading aliens, xenomorphs, and R2-D2s, and we'll have to rescue Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. Shouldn't they be in a galaxy far, far away? Anyway, once again, when we rescue the heroes, we get treated to the Star Wars theme. Hang on. Indiana Jones? Superman? Star Wars? All of their themes were composed by John Williams. That's it. John Williams is the key, the true hero of Earth. Save us, maestro. So, after rescuing Mr. Williams' dream team, we get a quick cutscene of the head alien beaming down, dragging his minions back to their ship, and clearing off. Well done, Luigi, and Spaghetti, I suppose. This game is perfectly playable. It's got a simple objective that's easy to work out, the art style is nice, and the animations are smooth. There's not much to the game, as you do the same thing in every level with no new mechanics introduced, so it does get a bit repetitive, but it's fairly short and doesn't overstay its welcome. You might have wanted something a bit more substantial from your video games in 1992, but the inclusion of recognisable characters, legally or not, keeps things fun. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this game did not revive Toa Soft's fortunes, and 2 years later in 1994, a sequel was released, Luigi in Circus Land. This time around, Luigi heads to Circus Land, after Spaghetti is captured by the evil clowns and put on show like an animal. Luigi must travel the 8 levels of the Circus Land, navigating various perils and rescuing his wiggly friend. Entering the first level, you'll notice that a lot of the game is very similar to the first one. Luigi looks and moves the same, for example. The big difference is the level design. No longer are we wandering around breaking alien eggs, but we have a more traditional level design of reaching the exit. It's not quite a simple left to right affair though, and you'll have to work out where to go and how to navigate. Another big change is that Luigi actually has an attack now. Actually, he has 2. He's serious about rescuing Spaghetti. Your attacks are an overhead punch, which you can use to squash enemies, and a straightforward jab. You can also jump on certain enemies too, so you'll need to work out which types of attacks will deal with which enemies. The platforming requires a lot more skill this time around, and proper timing is necessary to navigate the levels. Also, Luigi takes fall damage now, in that it kills him instantly falling a very short distance, so you really have to be careful you don't mess up your jumps. All of this makes the game a lot more difficult than its predecessor. The game does help you along a bit though, as it will give you extra lives when a particularly difficult section is coming up and respawn you fairly close to where you died. Even if you lose all your lives, the game will simply return you to the overworld map, where you can start the level again and not the entire game. Each level also have a unique mechanic or item you'll need to collect to navigate your way to the end. Level 2 gives you a hammer to use on the strength meters to power platforms and whatnot. The third level is the Tunnel of Love, where you have to find some oars to row a boat across some water, taking care to avoid falling stalactites as you go, although the hitboxes for them seem completely arbitrary. This level also has these annoying jumping hearts that you can't attack, so you'll have to carefully time your moves around them. Level 4 is La Magia, and has you tasked with finding an umbrella to shield yourself from the lightning bolts. I'm not sure that's quite how that works. Level 5 is La Feria, or The Fair, has you finding whatever this is, to operate a bumper car to drive over spikes to the end of the level. This one is also extremely short for some reason. You've just got to watch out for the clowns that will throw pies at you without warning. Level 5 is the Passage del Terror, Passage of Terror. And oh boy, the Tunnel of Love was bad, but this one is, well, like its name implies, an absolute terror. There's a lot of timing your walking underneath rows of enemies, moving between these skulls, punching ghosts that chase you, and introducing my most hated mechanic in the game, the stilts. Upon jumping on the stilts, you'll be unable to get off them, as the height you will count as fall damage and kill you. You also can't stop moving, as you'll also fall off. and this becomes part of the challenge as you have to wait for platforms to come down so you can get on them and stay on them as you move backwards and forwards just to stay upright. The game just seems to throw you off without any reason, and it's difficult to work out just what you're supposed to do. I think it's something to do with only changing directions when both stilts are on the ground, but I couldn't get it to work 100% of the time. Next level is La Carpa, the tent. This level has you getting a balancing pole to walk across some tight ropes, but you'll need to look out for the return of the stilts. No! And these clowns just standing there, offering you a present. No. This has got to be a trap, isn't it? Just got to get a bit closer so I can punch the... Oh, you absolute troll of a game. I suppose I'm the real clown for falling for it. Finally, we reach the 8th and last level, the Palace of Laughter. Dodging hordes of jumping musical notes, first of all, is no laughing matter, as it takes a lot of calculating and timing to work out how to progress past this maze of notes without them instantly killing you if they touch you. Eventually you'll come across Spaghetti. Look at what they've done to you, my boy. Caged up like some sort of animal. He should be free, so I can jump on him and use him as a spring. To get to our beloved pet, we'll have to use this level's item, this pogo stick thing. It is again awful to control, and having to navigate precise platforming and tight gaps through spikes when you can't maneuver in the air is an overwhelming nightmare. We'll make our way around to find the evil boss clown with his saxophone, which is apparently creating all these cursed musical notes in the level. You'll have to bounce up above him and squash him down to nothing, which also makes all the musical notes disappear. Finally, making our way to Spaghetti, we'll pick up the super item from the last game to become somewhat copyright infringing Super Luigi, free spaghetti from the cage so he can eat a burger, and that's it, I guess. Luigi in Circus Land is a bit more of a serious game than its predecessor. It removes the copyrighted characters, well, it's still a Luigi game, and makes it for a more original experience. While the game uses the same character model and animations for Luigi, the level designs offer a more traditional platforming experience, while throwing in a little variety to keep the levels unique and interesting. Unfortunately, the game is very slow and awkward, and if your controls, such as those goddamned stilts, lack the necessary finesse. The animations are smooth, the graphics are fine, and the hand-drawn backgrounds set the scene nicely. The music is simple, but also fits the levels such as in the Tunnel of Love and the Passage of Terror. There is, ultimately, nothing in this game that makes it stand out in 1994 platformers, and its release only on DOS means that it's only going to reach a very limited number of people. Though that might be a good thing so that Nintendo doesn't sue the developers into oblivion. Nevertheless, Luigi in Circus Land could not have rescued Toa Soft from collapse, and I don't think anyone would have expected it to, really. The company folded in the same year, and that was the end of the one and only Luigi. The Luigi games are a forgettable pair of platformers most remarkable for appropriating other characters. They're simple platformers that do different things, but nothing to set them apart or make them particularly interesting to play. It's difficult to decide which of the two is the best one. Luigi and Spaghetti is more simple, and the inclusion of recognisable characters is a fun twist, but the actual gameplay of awkwardly wandering around the stage collecting power-ups and stomping on eggs is not very interesting, and given that every stage is the exact same loop, it feels like the game just goes nowhere. Luigi in Circus Land takes things a bit more seriously, with a more original setting and characters. I mean, it's a circus and there's one clown villain, so it's not exactly an exercise in world building. It expands the platforming element by making the stages more directional, with different types of enemies, and unique gimmicks in each level, which keeps things somewhat fresh. Some of the introduced elements, however, are very frustrating to deal with, such as the controls on those damn stilts, and the fall damage which really inhibits some of the key gameplay features of platformers. Either way, you're not missing that much if you give them a miss. They're fun little novelties, but not much more than that. Maybe you can find some other video games starring a character named Luigi instead. Nah, no chance. Thanks for checking out this video game Odyssey 4, Luigi, not that one. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, it really helps. You can also check out the Twitch channel, where I play through all the games in this series live, and check out the VOD Archive there on my second YouTube channel. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next Video Game Odyssey.